Howdy folks. My name is Sam. I'm a fiber craft person. I've made one video on YouTube before, so that was cool. And I'm making another one. So I guess if you watched the other one and you're here, wow, cool. If you've never watched before, you're in for something. I don't know if you'll like it or not. Right now I am actually at my family's home. So I live on the west coast of the so-called United States, but I've been chilling with my fam on the east coast for the past couple of months. I work remotely and have been able to spend time with them as well as with this little dude. I don't know if you heard that, but this is Gus. Gus is taking a little rest up here, so you might hear him grunting and things. And while I've been here, I've been working on projects. I did a lot of, my family observes Christmas, and I've been made some gifts for people. I did some commissions, been mending a lot, did a little bit of spinning. And so I figured today, while I'm here at my family's home, I'm about to go back to my home soon. I have access to all of this stuff that I've made them over the years that I don't normally have on the day-to-day. So I figured, why not show it to the internet? So today's video is gonna be a combination of things that I've made for family members, like close family members who reside and or leave their stuff in this house, as well as some mending projects that I've done also for people who live here. When I get home, whenever the inspiration strikes me, I plan to make a video of some of the things I'm working on, which honestly isn't that much, so you're not really missing out if you wanted to see that. And a lot of kind of upcoming projects that I'm excited about, some yarn that I was given as gifts, and kind of my natural dye and spinning plans coming up. So I'll probably do, each year I grow a natural dye garden / kind of constantly have a natural dye garden growing. So I can talk through that stuff if you're interested in how I do that, like in an urban space and with a little gardening knowledge, as well as some of my spinning things. So stay tuned. But for today, you're in for a treat because I love my family and I've made them a lot of cool shit over the years. So I figured I would start with the things that I've made them, and then I could show you a little bit of mending stuff. And so I have items that I've made for 3 different people, and I'll kind of do it one by one. I'm probably gonna have to go on, look at my computer for notes for some of these things that are really old for designers and stuff. So I'll share that, and then I'll also put in the notes information about each project, like the pattern and yarn I used, colorways if I know. I also have a Ravelry where most of this stuff is somewhat documented if you really wanted to check it out. If you're not able to use Ravelry, you can definitely just, I guess, message me on YouTube. I don't know. Nobody's ever done that before, so you could be my first YouTube, hi Gus, messenger. And yeah, so we'll go ahead and get going. So I'm gonna start with the smallest pile. This is stuff that I made for my brother. So my brother is a giant man, kind of minimalist in vibe. He wears a lot of sweatpants and t-shirts, and he has the same pair of, I don't know if they're running shoes or tennis shoes kind of, but he has 5 of them so that when they get worn out, he can rotate them. He's kind of like that. I'm not like that. I'm more a giant hobbit. Take that as you will. So I have a couple of things to show you that are his that he's sort of rejected and I've tried to make him and then also things that he wanted. He generally is not a huge, really into knit stuff that I make him. I've made him a couple of hats and things, but I made him just this random pair of bulky mittens one year, and he likes to go skiing. And he only wears these wool mittens when he skis, which I didn't realize. I'm oh, that's sweet, he wears them. And then I went skiing, and I don't really ski, but there was a time when I was trying to learn again. Anyway, I went with him, and his mittens were just soaking wet the whole time, and he didn't care. He's my hands are so warm. I'm all right, you do you. But they started getting holes in them and were super felted. / my mom wash them in the wash machine. So now they're like small hand size because he has really giant hands. So I made him a new pair. So I'll show you that first. These are, I think they're the New Year's mittens. So as I like show it, I'll grab my device and see if I can pull up information. So these have not yet, oh, I have to log in. These have not yet been given to him, but I had made them before, so I basically followed the same information. These were made using Brown Sheep Co. Mittens. So I have a lot of family from the inland Northwest, and there's a local yarn store there that sells Brown Sheep Co. Mittens, and they're super cheap, single ply, worsted weight. So I had some black ones in my stash because he just wanted black mittens. So yeah, these are the New Year's mittens. The pattern is by Barbara French. It's a free pattern on Ravelry or maybe other places. And I don't know how much yardage they take, but they have multiple sizes. I always modify them to make them fit better. So this is, like I said, it's just black. This is a wool mohair blend. So I think that's part of the reason he liked it, is because they're woolen spun, so they're a little bit like kind of lightweight, really warm. The mohair makes it a little bit more durable. So yeah, so he has these, but for him, because he has super big hands, so do I. I mean, like, look at these monsters. I knit the cuff longer before I moved on to the palm. I don't know, like the body of the mitten. And then I think I also knit more rounds of, sorry, my lighting is kind of, I don't know, maybe it's good, maybe it's garbage, but I knit more rounds of this than I was supposed to too before and I also like made one extra stitch, so they're like a teeny bit wider than they would be before I moved to the thumb. The thumb is like really long because it's his size, and then I added like 2 stitches I think in the thumb gusset here when I picked up for the thumb, so it would be a little bit wider. And then the other thing that I do differently, and I think this is on maybe the first pair I made on my Ravelry, is I added like extra rows in between each decrease, or extra rounds in between each decrease round to, I don't know, like make it taller. Maybe I just did that last time because I didn't want to frog back and I needed it to be taller, but I did the same thing again this time. So yeah, these are really fast. I made them in like 2 days. So if you need a gift for somebody, they're also like, I mean, I guess because there's one color, you just knit the same mitten twice. It's not like you have to adjust it depending on, oh my God, my brain. Depending on, is this long COVID? I don't know, my brain fog. Oh, you have to, sometimes if you're doing color work, you have to like do a left and a right mitten, and then if you fuck it up, it's like, damn it, you know? But these ones work for both. So these are for him. I'm gonna see him this weekend and give him his mittens. Just don't, if you knit, Mom, if you're watching, don't wash these in the wash machine. The other thing that I have for him is this hat. So I guess I can put it on and probably screw up my hair. I'm not going to tell you what that stands for because privacy, but this is an acronym for something. I made this hat for my brother, and originally it was huge. It was super, super tall. I used some black gray yarn. Let's see if I can find it on here. That had been my grandmother's. So, my grandmother passed away when I was like a baby, or no, I wasn't even alive yet, but I found a giant trash bag of her yarn and I've used some of it. Anyway, but this is, let's see, Coates and Clark Heart Knitting Worsted Worsted Solid in the colorway 12 Black. And this is like some old vintage yarn. It's also moth proofed, which I'm like, chemicals, I don't know, but I used it to make this hat for him. Originally it was giant. You can see the before picture on my Ravelry, and so there was actually stitch definition. And then I put this little logo on with some of those Brown Sheep Co. Mittens and made a pom-pom, but it was just too big. It fit my head, so I don't understand, like, I think maybe just because of my hair it did, but he was like, no, and everybody else in my family was like, no, we don't want it. So I took the pom-pom off and I felted it in the dryer, which I can put the tutorial that I used in the notes, but basically what you do, I don't know why I didn't do it in the wash machine. I've felted a lot of stuff in the wash machine that I'm trying to like hardcore felt, like make really stiff. But I chose not to do that this time because I wanted it to just like lightly felt. So I did the dryer method. I don't know. I thought it would like take longer for it to felt. I think it does. You have to like check it more often. So basically what you do is you dip whatever thing you have, knitted thing that is feltable. This I think is like kind of not feltable, this yarn. I think it's like sort of superwash yarn. I don't know. It took a long time, but you dip it in cold or like ice water. I just dipped it in water and then put it in the dryer for like 5-minute intervals and then take it out, dip it again, put it back in the dryer, another 5-minute interval. And you do that and check it each time to see how it's felted and if it's kind of to your liking. This is still like pretty big, but it's felted to be shorter and a little bit more kind of tight around the head. So hopefully he'll wear it. If not, I'm just like, fuck if I know. I don't know what to do with it. I guess I'll have to keep it. But it's a really warm, fuzzy little guy. But that is a good felting method if you have something that you're just like, I'm not. Because my other option was to reknit this, and I was like, I know I'm going to reknit it, and then he's not going to like the fit again because it's going to be too short or whatever. And so, fuck it, I'm just going to felt it and call it a day, and maybe somebody will wear it. But this is a good option if you have something that's like a little bit too big and you just want to like slowly felt it. So I'll put that tutorial in the notes. And this pattern is, I'm sorry I'm looking down, my computer's down here. I'm not sorry, I can do whatever I want. This is my YouTube channel. This is the Anthology pattern by Tin Can Knits. So what I did is for this acronym, I just made a chart myself, and I duplicate stitched this on. But you could put in color work or whatever with Anthology. I think the purpose of it is so you can create your own design. I think my gauge was just super off and is why this is messed up. I don't know. I made it years ago. Don't quote me. But that's a good like worsted weight hat pattern if you need one. And this is knit and worsted weight. Okay, so that's my brother's stuff. Like I said, he has a felted pair of mittens too, and another hat. I made an Alaska hat by Camille Descateau for him that he keeps in his car, so I don't have it. And I've made him a golf sock. So now I'm gonna move on to another dude. This one is my dad. So my dad is not, my brother and my dad are different. My brother's more like streetwear, sweatpants. My dad's more like big beard, fill up the bird feeder, hunting, I don't know, like inland Northwest sweatpant dude. My dad and I vibe a lot because we don't really care that much about, you know, being fancy. Hopefully you can still see me. I feel like it's getting kind of dark. It's a rainy day where I am today, hence why Gus is taking a little nap. But yeah, so I have a couple of things. My dad is very knit worthy, and I think he's actually wearing a pair of socks that I made him, and he has a hat and a pair of mittens I made him in his car, so I don't have them because he's at work. But I have a couple of things to show you. So first I'll show you something he made. So my dad went through a knitting machine phase where he had a giant trash bag of yarn. There's like a lot of people in my life with trash bags of yarn. And he would just sit there at night, like watch the news and just knit. But they're all the things he made are acrylic, which is fine. But he's pretty outdoorsy. He likes to go hunting. He likes to go on like packing trips on horses where you're in the middle of nowhere and it can rain or snow. And so I was like, dude, you need to upgrade to wool because, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. That it will keep you warmer, especially if you get like rained on and it gets wet. So this is his previous hunting hat, the blaze orange at the top. Also, I mean, judge my family if you want, I don't really care, but my family like eats this stuff that they hunt, just so you know. It's not really like trophy hunting. Mostly he gets skunked too and doesn't get anything anyway. I am not into hunting because I feel like it's a good way to get mauled by a bear, but whatever. So this is his hat he made. I made him another one, which is in his batted, and he loved it and he wore it hunting. I showed it the last time, the yarn. I think it was some Handspun yarn that I had like batted, I don't know. I brushed it on my blending board and then spun it, and it was a bulky weight and made him a hat. This is a hat I made for his friend, if you can see it. Let's see, lighting. I don't really know how to show it to my phone. Okay, so this is a hat I made for his friend. So there's two orange colors. One is this like lighter orange. That is the same handspun I did for my dad. And then there's a darker orange. Let's see if I can get it to like show it to you better. I don't know if you can see it well or not, but the darker orange stripes are some Navajo Churro Wool that I had gotten. My dad had like a woven rug that has some holes in it. So I was in New Mexico a couple of years ago, and I went to the Weaving and Beauty yarn store in Gallup, New Mexico, and they have a great selection of Navajo Churro, like single ply wool in different colors. They also have like fiber. I have a lot of fiber that I want to spin. But yeah, so I use this orange, but the problem is, I really want to see if I can like show it to you closely. The problem is the dark orange, I held it 4 strands together and it's like kind of a worsted weight. And so this is like heavy. This is not a lightweight hat. Like this is like, look at how heavy it is. So my dad's like, dude, I can't give this to my friend. I'm like, I am not ripping it out. Give it to your friend. I don't care. So the fate of this hat is still to be determined, but it is an example of what I made for my dad. So he has one like the reverse where it's brown on the top and orange on the bottom, but his friend wanted it more orange so that way like when he's out hunting, you know, he doesn't get shot by somebody else. So that's this hat. And the pattern for this hat is this pattern, which I'll put this on because I love it. This is the Yoda, Baby Yoda hat, or Yoda hat. Oh God, I don't know how to do this with bangs. Ugh. This is the Yoda hat, or Baby Yoda. This is a free pattern on Ravelry. My family went through like quite the Mandalorian phase. Oh shit, hold on. So like my uncle, my dad, like everybody had Disney Plus and they were watching it and like, have you seen Mando, whatever? And I was like, Baby Yoda's so cute. And so I made them hats. I've made a bunch of these. I've also made these for actual babies, which is adorable. The pattern is, I will tell you in a second, and I have this on my Ravelry, photos of it. It is Yoda by Segolene Roudot. I don't know. It's free, I think. Maybe not. Let me see if it's free or not. It's free on Ravelry. There's adult and baby sizes. I always like, I knit the width to pattern, but then like my dad has a smaller head than me, so this fits him, but this is over my ears. So like for other people, I've knit it longer. And then it has these adorable little Baby Yoda ears. What? And my dad like wears this in public. Like he'll wear it to the grocery store. He doesn't care. My uncle also has one and also wears it in public. I used Buttercream Luxe Craft Alpaca Solid bulky weight or super bulky weight yarn that I got at like a Joann's or something. For this, I needed to find the perfect yarn, and this yarn is really good. I don't even know if it's available anymore or not, but it has these like white alpaca fibers in it. I don't know if you can see, kind of like fuzzy. Maybe if I hold it this way, you can see them. Can you? Yeah, they're like the little white fibers sticking out. And so Baby Yoda also has his little like white hairs on it. So sorry, dude, I know. It's probably like, shut up. Yeah, Baby Yoda also has little white hairs, so this is perfect. So I don't know, if you're trying to make a Baby Yoda hat, this is a good one. It's easy. The ears are really easy. You just kind of knit one piece and then sort of sew them down and put them on the sides. But my dad loves this hat. Like he wears it all the time. And so this is the pattern that I used to make this hunting hat. Just without the ears. So yeah, that's that. I only have one more thing to show for him, but this is kind of a doozy. This is a sweater that I made. I feel like I should put it on. Maybe let's see if I even can put it on over my sweater I'm wearing. So this is a kind of like a somewhat self-drafted, this is like a hacked sweater. I did not design this pattern, but I also did like only sort of follow the directions. It has a zipper in it, which I'm trying to zip up, but I think I just screwed up the zipper. Hold on. Haven't really worn this in a while because it's not mine. So this is his sweater. I'll see if I can like stand up a little bit and show you. Let's like squat down so you can see it. I love it. I think it's awesome. I made this, let's see, when did I make it? I'll pull it up on my little notes. Thank you, Past Sam. I love when Past Sam like does good things for future Sam, and Past Sam took notes so I can make this video for the interweb. This is the Eagle Island cardigan by Meghan Babin. I think it's like for a knitting company. Let me click on it. Interweave Knits. You have to pay for it. I think it's like $8. But my dad and I like went through all the patterns to find the one he wanted. It is knit from the bottom up and using, I think, wait, let me see what size yarn it calls for. Worsted. My yarn was kind of like a light worsted was the problem. So you knit from the bottom up in just like one long flat piece. My dad's like not tiny, so this was he's bigger than me, so this was not like it's no big deal if you're big or small, but he's bigger than me, so I wasn't used to having like, and I haven't knit something with this much ease for myself, so it took longer to knit than what I normally make for me. So you knit it from the bottom up, you do ribbing. I think I did like a twisted rib on the bottom. Couldn't tell you why. Let's see if I can show you. And then I totally made my own chart for this. So you can see there's an elk right here, and then some trees, and then there's a grizz. And then I don't know if I made this. Yeah, I made this like little mountain with sort of like check chart. Let's see if I can show it to you better. Maybe. I wish I would have made like one facing down and one facing up, or no, something I did, I was like, that's not right. And so I just repeated those little like triangles on the sleeves. Yeah. And then this pattern here. I've been thinking about just like putting the chart for this on Ravelry if somebody wants it, like on the internet. It's a really long repeat. So like, let's see if I can show you the back. Like this is what it looks like all together. So I think I did the chart maybe 2 times. So it's kind of annoying to knit because you have to sit there like while you're doing the color work and really look at it. But I love the way it turned out. I knit up, I totally changed the color work, so I had to, and the yarn was thinner, so I used FibraNatura Shepherd's Own in light brown and in cream, which are, I think, undyed, or I told my dad they were undyed because he wanted undyed wool. And so I had to rework the numbers for his body and for the yarns. Oh my God, this is so hot, wearing 2 sweaters, holy crap. And then we needed a 3rd color, so I got Brooklyn Tweed Shelter in wool socks. Brooklyn Tweed Shelter, is it Shelter? Brooklyn Tweed Shelter in wool socks. And I just used a little bit for this thread. Okay. Things I changed a lot. I think there's notes on my Ravelry of what I did. But like you knit and then you split for the sleeves and you knit to the top, and then I think I used 3 needle bind off or something to join these, and then I think you pick up for the neckband and add it. For the sleeves, you're supposed to do set-in sleeves, and I was like, hell no, I'm not doing that. Like, I will fuck it up. So I found a tutorial online where you pick up all of like a certain amount of stitches, or the stitches that you need around the armhole that's already been created by the body of this. And then you basically knit like short rows to make a sleeve cap. And then once you've done that, it's just like a normal sleeve that you knit down. And then I calculated like how wide his wrist was in comparison to, sorry, the lighting's kind of funky, how wide his bicep was, and then like did my decreases that way. The last thing I'll show you, and then I really have to take this off because ouch, it's hot. I put pockets on here. So this was like, shout out to the first time I learned how to do mattress stitch. But I just made like little patch pockets that are pretty big, and I made them like I had to kind of figure out how they would fit with the color work, and then use mattress stitch to seam them up. So I'll put the tutorial for the how I did the sleeves, but this is a good little pattern. There's some other people who have played with the color work on this pattern on the pattern page, but he loves it. goodness. I think I'm gonna have to turn you. Yeah, maybe that's better. He loves it. It's a cool little sweater. It's not actually cool though. It's like hot as balls right now wearing it. But yeah, that's this that I made for my dad. All right, so we made it through his stuff. We made it through my brother's stuff. Now to my mom. Right, Gus Gus? So my mom's vibe is a little bit more like bougie than, definitely more bougie than my dad. Plus she really likes to match. So she's kind of picky with her knitting stuff, which is sort of annoying. Like she'll see me in my outfits and be like, oh, I could never wear all of those things together. But I have managed to make her some things that she loves, including what I am currently wearing. So I'm still gonna try to see if I can. Listen, I'm not a professional podcaster. We're doing the best we can. I'm trying to see if I can maybe like, oh, that's better. So this is the only sweater I've made her. It is Rug by, I believe, Junko Okamoto. I can pull it up real quick. This pattern may be now, but when I knit it was not size inclusive. It was only one size, and it is a free pattern, or was a free pattern. I love their designs, Junko Okamoto's designs. I think they're really amazing and beautiful. Sizing wise, it's hard because a lot of their stuff historically, again, I don't know if it is now, you can check, but wasn't size inclusive. So usually be like one size. And obviously that's not size inclusive. There's a lot of resources that exist to improve that. However, like putting on my like cultural relevance hat, I think another piece too is that different countries have kind of different norms around knitting. And I know that in some Scandinavian countries and also historically in Japan and even historically in the US, a lot of times things would be released with like limited or one size available. And then the expectation and kind of the norm was that knitters knew how to just like adapt numbers for their bodies, sort of like those kind of plug and play patterns where they have like an Excel spreadsheet or something, or they give you like formulas to do the different stitch counts. So I'm not saying it's like right or wrong, I'm just saying that's another factor. I knew that this was going to be too small if I knit it to pattern because my mom and I are tall, big people. And so what I ended up doing, let's see if I actually took notes. Maybe. Did I? Aha, I did. I think maybe I cast it on more than I was supposed to. I knit on a larger needle size than was suggested. I guess it was on gauge. And then I added like extra solid rows in between the different colorwork pieces because I'm tall and I thought like this will kind of like help it hang better on my body or my mom's. It turned out kind of Swancho-y, which I think it probably did to other people too. I think that's just kind of the pattern, but also with extra rows it'll do that. But you know, I didn't want like this part to be really high up on the yoke. I thought it would look weird. It doesn't actually look that weird. Pass Sam. Silly. But I think I did that because I wanted it to fall lower. But either way, it's fine. It's like a sweatshirt. It's knit with super bulky, not super bulky. Oh no. I hope you can hear me. I don't know if I'm in my AirPod or not. We'll see. It's knit with very bulky yarn. Wait, let me make sure so this didn't just, yeah, we're good. It's knit with quite bulky yarn, so it's super warm. And being next to this boy who's like a hot dude is not the best. He's probably like annoyed that I'm so hot too. I used FibraNatura Inca Tweed in gray for the main color, and then Wool in the Gang Lil Heal the Wool in ivory white. So this is a wool sweater. Shout out to when Tuesday Morning used to have yarn, or if your Tuesday Morning still sells yarn, that's dope. Mine used to and doesn't anymore. But this was the FibraNatura with some yarn that I got from them, and it's always a good deal. So yeah, this is what I made for her. She likes it. Other stuff I've made for my mom. I'll do like smaller things. I've made her a lot of hats and stuff. So the first one I made is this. This is called the Turband. I guess I can put it on. It's like it's a little headband. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, I knit this. Maybe I can show you. I don't even know if I have this saved. This is some superwash, maybe like Patton's yarn or something. I don't even know if I have this one listed, but here you can see it more up close. It's kind of a pretty sage green. I think it's a superwash wool. The pattern though, I do have somewhere here and I can tell you. Okay, so this is a pattern by Amélie Bernier maybe? And it's, I think like a Mano Style Uruguay pattern. Is it free? It's free. So yeah, you could make this one. I made this for a lot of people. It's pretty easy. You just knit, it's knit flat and you knit like a strip and then you get to the middle and you separate your little strip into 2 little strips and then you twist them around each other and then you join them back together and you keep knitting and then you just seam them up. And if you're me, you don't do it invisibly. So yeah, that's one I made for my mom. I've also made, and I've made this for pretty much everybody in my family, but in different colors and things. So let's see if I can find a picture of hers. Not to show you, but so I'm using the, okay. This is an Alaska headband by Camille Descateau, who is French Canadian, I believe. I've test knit for them before and have great experiences with their patterns, but this one I like immediately fell in love with. This must have been like the inspiration for the trees that I did in my little chart. It's not the same trees, like I didn't copy it. My dad drew it out and then I charted it on Excel. It was very sweet and very wholesome when we made his sweater. But this is like a really loosey-goosey gauged headband. I made another one for my aunt that's like way smaller because I think I used to be a tighter knitter. But this one I made for my mom, so it's a gigantic headband. I basically just stopped and bound off and knit like a little brim and knit a smaller like ribbing at the bottom. This is knit in Knit Picks Chroma Fingering in the colorway black and Drawing Room. So I think I went on Knit Picks one time and just ordered a bunch of their different like fingering weight yarns in different colors, but it's supposed to look like the Northern Lights because where my mom's from, there you can see the Northern Lights and it's beautiful. So yeah, that's that. So this is an easy one to modify, or just any hat, like as long as the color work doesn't go super high up, or if you could cut it, like shorten it, you could just make it into a headband. Okay. Then other stuff I made for her. Oh, wait, let me do this one first. Shoot, I lost it. Oh no, it's right here. Okay, this one I made using also the Navajo Churro Wool that I got in Gallup, New Mexico, because I wanted to make this pattern by Tressa, let's see if I can pronounce, Dinar, I believe, who is a Diné, like Navajo designer, and I think this is beautiful. It's called the Rug Weaver headband. It's really quick to knit. I used some Navajo Churro Wool and then also some of those Mittens, I think, for this part. Like I duplicate stitch this. I guess you could probably hold it. But it's a pretty simple color headband. My dad loves it. He steals it. He's in the picture on my Ravelry wearing it. And he wants me to make him a hat like this. So that's a great pattern if you want a pretty headband and to support an Indigenous designer. And then the last hat, so my mom is like hardcore Scandinavian, Swedish. I've been helping her with her ancestry and like, yeah, like hardcore Swedish. Not like she doesn't speak Swedish or anything, but like those Swedish genes, you know? Whatever that means. She just has Swedish genetics, whatever. And likes like potatiskorv and stuff. But I made her this hat. This is a Dala horse hat. So Dala horses, LOL if you're Scandinavian, I don't care. You can get mad at me, but it's not my fault that my ancestors left. Anyway, Dala horses are like horses in Scandinavia that I believe are like, not bred, but they have features that allow them to live in really cold weather. And so here's the Dala horse hat. These are Dala horses. They're kind of like a iconic, I would say. And I made this one for my mom. This is using This is a pattern by Kristen Drysdale, who's like the OG, like Scandinavian American knitter, I believe, or designer. I used various colors of Barocco vintage yarn here. And then you're supposed to do hold three colors together for the color work, and I was like, oh no, that's not happening. So I just duplicate stitched it on, and I made this for a lot of my family members. So yeah, that's that. And then back down in the Kristen Drysdale rabbit hole, there's a couple more things I've made. So right here, this is the Swedish Christmas pillow. I'll move my computer. I know that's annoying. This is also by Kristen Drysdale. And my mom was like, that, I need it. I made one for my aunt first, and then they kind of feuded. Not my aunt was not involved in the feud. My mom was grumpy because my aunt got it first. My aunt's, I caught my floats in the back. So if you're like, what? That means if you knit color work, like when you catch your floats, that means anything longer than like 5 stitches, which there are kind of in between some of these icons or like color changes, you sort of trap it, twist it and trap it in the back, so that way it doesn't get all like loosey-goosey like mine is here. On my mom's, I was lazy and I didn't really want to knit the same pattern again, so I didn't catch my float, so it's like really big, like too big for the pillow form. I'm like, just get a bigger pillow form. And kind of, even after blocking like a little, not the most beautiful work, but whatever, it gets the job done. So this is it. Has a lot of cute little Swedish things on it. It's kind of annoying, like my dad's sweater that I made, because it's like, this is the whole repeat. Like it doesn't like repeat, except for these little guys, the little reindeer. So you have to focus when you make this. And then the back is just like these checkers, and then these are some, I think, elk horn buttons that my dad made or obtained or something. Shed hunted, I don't know. So there's this one. And then in Kristen Drysdale's book, so this one was made, both of them are made with the brown sheep comb Mittens, my fave yarn, which is worsted weight mohair wool blend, wool and spun single ply. Then I knit another one, which was made pretty much with the same yarn. And this one is called, do I have a picture of it? Internet? Uh-oh. Oh, yes. This is the Midsummer pillow. So, I don't know if I caught my floats here either. This one is, it's not Midsummer, so it's put away. But this is also a pattern by Kristen Drysdale. This is in her book that she made, which I have. And I'll look up the name of it in a second. Kirsten or Kristen? Kristen Drysdale. And if you make this, don't be like me, because when I made it, I'm like, oh, it's just the same thing as the other one, but it's not. Like this chart is a little bit different than the one on the Swedish Christmas pillow, I think. And then also like how you do this part, the little button flap is a little different. It has a, not a Latvian braid, some sort of braid, maybe a Latvian braid. I don't know. Here, I can show it up close potentially. But this one's a little different. So if you make both, they're different. These are some wooden buttons that were like in my grandma who passed away's sewing stash. So yeah, this is another one, Mittens, cute little pillow. And okay, a couple more things I made for my mom. These are, I may have shown these last time, so I'll just be brief, but these are socks from Kate Atherley. They are basic ribbed socks, I think. Are they? Yeah, basic rib socks. They're great. Super like mindless knitting, but they stay up on your feet because they are ribbed. I just like stock up on Patton's Croy socks or whatever like wool sock blend they have at big box fabric stores when they're on clearance, and then I kind of blend them together, use them to make socks. So I ended up making 4 pairs for family members this winter, including these for my mom. So these are hers. I think this uses Patton's Croy. Oh shoot, this is somebody else's. I think I talked about it last time. It's on my Ravelry, but like they're just chill little socks. The one thing I will say is I have to use, like, I'm a super loose knitter, so I have to go down really far in needle size to get the fabric that I want. But when I do that, the stitch count isn't enough like gauge wise. I think we just have bigger legs maybe. So you can easily modify these size wise by adding like another 4 stitches, because that's how much each ribbing repeat is, and then just divide those 4 stitches between the heel and the foot part, and then kind of use those new numbers to go forth. I also like to use the old Norwegian cast on for this because it's stretchy, but it's not like loosey-goosey, like it looks nice. So just 2 little tips. Yeah, those are her socks. I made my dad a pair too, but I think he's wearing them. Okay, 2 more things that I've made my mom. Wow, I've made a lot of stuff. Okay, this is the Sunrise Garden Shawl by Christina Dene. This is kind of wrinkly because it's been in its bag. Good mom for keeping it in its bag. This is in brown sheep Mittens and just 3 different colors, kind of a corally pink, a cream, and a gold. My mom likes to wear this like in the fall. I have one too. Mine has a tassel at the end. There's an option to do that. It's just a big triangle shawl. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah. Oh gosh, sorry. It's a big triangle shawl, and there's like little yarn overs in the middle. This doesn't make it look that nice. Ribbing along the edges. And then ribbing and yarn overs, and then linen stitch, like color change details, which makes it look nice. So this is hers. It's very snuggly. It's worsted weight. I love Christina Dene's stuff. I don't know why. I think they lived in North Carolina, and I was like, oh, like I have family that lives there. But I just think their stuff's good, and I think they say funny things on the internet. Okay, last thing I made for my mom is this. This is the Pressed Flowers shawl by, I think, Amy Christoffers. I really hope I didn't say the wrong person. I'll look in a second because I gotta look up the yarns. I think it's so beautiful. It's like a chartreuse color, and this, I think this is called Cherry Blossom or something, and it's like a cream with pinkish speckling in the yarn. Yeah. This, let me just quickly say the people who made the yarn. This is Forest Lane Fiber Co. I like them too because they say funny things also on the internet. Amy Christoffers, yes, made Pressed Flowers. This is not a free pattern. Sunrise Garden was a free pattern, the previous shawl. I used BFL DK, so like non-superwash from Forest Lane Fiber Co. The pink color is Magnolia Tree. And, oh my gosh, the green color is Chartreuse. And I gave this to her for her birthday last year. I also made her some like foraged wisteria bath salts, like not bath, you know, bath salts, and some foraged pine, fir, and cedar resin beeswax like hand salve. So yeah, so that's this one. That's what it looks like on the wrong side. This is mosaic, knit mosaic, so it's color work, but like not very hard, because you don't have all those long floats in the back. Well, I guess you have a few little long ones. And then you could make this bigger by just like continuing the middle chunk, but then when you get to the end, like this is kind of the edging you have to do. So yeah. All right, those are all the things I've knit for all the people. I'm just going to show you a couple of mending things because this is already pretty long, and if you're like, I hate mending, like, okay, bye, it's fine. But like I said, I have to mend a lot of my mom's stuff, I guess. So I'm just going to show you quickly my tools and kind of my approach to it. So my mom has a lot of like store-bought sweaters like this one, and they'll get holes in them. So this one had a hole in the neck right here. This is like not pretty mending either. But what I've started doing is I used to take, I have a mending, I have this, I'll show you. I have a mending loom, and also we'll just kind of YOLO it with a, so this is my mending loom. If you don't, you can like Google how they work, but basically like you just kind of like do the yarn on these, and then like weave it through, make a patch. So I would use this, or I would use like a mending egg like this and kind of stick it in where I needed it, and then, you know, just from there use random yarn and kind of patch it. I usually would do kind of like a woven patch. Sometimes like I will try to mimic the knitting, but let's be honest, I'm lazy. But I started needle felting. So I have just some random fiber that I had with me. This is, I don't even know, this is just wool. I don't know what kind, it's just kind of like an oatmeal-y color, longish wool. And I would just take a little chunk of this wherever the hole was. Can you even see this? Or like that maybe? Never mind, I'm not gonna do it that way. But I would take a little chunk, and then I have a needle felting tool, which is this sharp needle. It's super sharp, and you just kind of like press down on what you do. So I started doing that, and obviously this is really visible. For this sweater, I didn't really care that it was visible because it's in the back of a turtleneck, like who cares? So this is one, this is like the first example. But for other sweaters, because she gets a lot of moth holes kind of in the front of her sweater. So this is like a cream colored sweater. And can you see, oh yeah, so you can see here, what I did is I needle felted first. Let's see, show it up closer. And then I just used similar colored yarn and sort of embroidered flowers on it. So I'll see if I can do this maybe. So yeah, this is one that I did. So it kind of covers up the needle felted part, but because I was too lazy to just patch it up like more normally, because the needle felting kind of gets it a little bit like in relief, like it's kind of chunkier than it would be if you were using just thread. But this is one example. I did some flowers on this one. So she has one with flowers here, and I maybe even have some on the arms. She has two that look like these striped ones. This one has a lot of holes. So I did these little guys. I needle felted first. Some of these are a previous mend that I put little flowers over, and then it has a bunch on the front that you may be able to see. And there's another one. I think I did a little bit of different sort of flower style. So this one is kind of like a lazy daisy, where I can put it like a tutorial or something. It's pretty easy to do. That's that kind of flower, and this one has it on the back too. The previous one, I think this is satin stitch. It's where you like go in and out of the same holes multiple times. So it gets kind of thick and chunky like on the petals, as opposed to being those little like loops. So that's that one. This one, the moth holes were like in the shape of the Big Dipper or the Little Dipper, so I made it kind of like the Little Dipper on here. I think she's not amused. Here, let me fold it and maybe I can. Yeah, I think she's not super amused, but I think it's funny. And I did kind of like a star embroidery method that I stole actually from another sweater that I'm not going to show you that I mended. So that's just something, I guess, if you really want a tip, this is just something you can do. There's a lot more. These are just a couple, but these are ones where I did some visible mending. I also did some in different colors. Like she has a pink sweater that I mended with a gold flower, and so that looks cute. But just an idea, if you get holes in something, especially if it's this like thinner sort of store-bought sweater or a knit sweater, you can always visibly mend or cover it with embroidery. And you can do it in the same color, you can do it in contrasting colors. Like, listen people, we don't have to hide our mending, it's okay. The last thing I'll show you that I mended these are my dad's socks. I think these were like his Christmas stockings when he was a kid, I don't know. But dude, these had been mauled by moths. So this one, I just took my darning egg, which I've already lost. Guess you have the darning egg? oh, here it is. I took my darning egg and then I just kind of stick it in the sock, and just took some green weaving yarn that I had and basically created like a weft, like created sort of a, here, let's see if I can show it. Oh yeah, created kind of like a grid of yarn and then went from there. Uh-oh. Hold on, one of my adults is here. Yeah, so that's the last thing I've made and kind of fixed up for my dad. So now he can wear these socks that he hasn't worn in a million years, and they have all of this kind of patching on them. So it's perfect timing because a family member's home. It's about to get loud. Gus is gonna become more alert and want his dinner. But that's just a bunch of random stuff that lives in my parents' house and things that I've mended. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I don't know. I will make another video, maybe, maybe not, hopefully with some of the stuff at my home, but I guess thanks for watching. Gus is watching, our family member, but Gus appreciates it too. And I'll put all of the information about the different projects in the notes, and I will also put links to some of the different techniques and stuff that I mentioned. So yeah, thanks again. TTFN, bye.